A larger-than-life holiday phenomenon is taking downtown Winnipeg by storm. Sick and Twisted Theatre opened their second annual Panto production called Hansel and Gretel in Portage Place, a Merry Crip-Mas Panto last weekend, showcasing Winnipeg's amazing artistic community in the process. Now, they're getting ready to welcome audiences back to the Colin Jackson Theatre at the Prairie Theatre Exchange this weekend. Teresa Thompson, Sick and Twisted's artistic producer, joins us in studio once again. She also is performing as the dame of the Panto, Dame Sol Tess Champers. Good morning to you, Teresa.
Oh, good morning.
We're also joined by two more performers in the Hansel and Gretel production in Portage Place. Emily King in the role of Hansel and Tyler Sneesby as the evil landlord. Good morning to you two.
Good morning. It's so nice to be here.
It's so awesome to have you, and hello to you as well, Tyler.
Hi there.
They're sharing a microphone, so we're doing a little bit of pass and grab here. Okay, so first of all, maybe I'll start with you, Emily, to say that the story of Hansel and Gretel has been adapted for Winnipeg audiences without giving too much away for the people who have not seen it. What happens to Hansel and Gretel in Winnipeg's downtown?
Well, Hansel and Gretel live in a teeny tiny house in the parking lot near the old Free Press building. And due to renovations and a sort of a reimagining of the Portage Place Mall, they are being evicted from their homes. So Hansel and Gretel go on an adventure to possibly find a nice rich family to live with, wandering the above ground walkway of Portage Place and the Jet Stadium.
Okay, so then we have all of this action narrated so ably by the dame of this production, Dame Sol Tess Champers. And the dame, I understand, has like quite a unique role in pantomime tradition. Teresa, can you tell me a little bit about that and what that all entails when it comes to Hansel and Gretel?
Yes. Pantomime comes to us from England, where it's referred to as Panto season, and it's super popular, and it's been going on forever and ever. And one of the glorious, in my opinion, traditions is the character of the dame, who's my favorite. Classically, the dame is played by a middle-aged man in drag, and there's some very famous dame characters that have been passed on down. It is a dream for me to get to be the dame. I never ever thought that I would get to dress up in drag and have so much pun with the show, and I do.
You're leaning right into that. Now we covered two of the three characters in the show. Now, Tyler, you maybe drew the short straw and got the villain character in this show, playing the evil landlord. What is your character all about, and how do you fit into the reimagining of the Hansel and Gretel story in Portage Place?
This is my first time. I've in other lives I've been on stage a lot, but this is my first time acting. So when I was approached to perhaps do this, I was pitched the role of the villain and it excited me to be able to just really lean into because in the tradition of Panto, it's very over the top and big, broad acting. You know, nothing is nuanced. Nothing is like subtle. So
right.
It's everything is big, and if you're going to be evil, you have to be extra evil. If you're going to be sad, you have to be extra sad. So it really appealed to me to be the villain in this, and I get to what's the expression? Chew the scenery. So
that's a great theater expression.
Yeah.
Amazing that it is your first time acting, although you have been on many Winnipeg stages as well in your work as a DJ here in the community. What is it like to be a part of this production, and how have you approached being an actor in this sense for the first time?
It's terrifying. It's thrilling. But most of all, I'm just in awe of the rest of the performers, watching them do what they do, and just sort of learning from them, and just being that new guy, and just watching and learning, and really being inspired and stoked to work with really cool team. And yeah, as far as acting goes, I'm basically just a pastiche of other, a little bit of Mr. Burns, a little bit of De Niro in Copland.
All right.
I'm just throwing together a bunch of things in my brain and just balling them up into my own wacky performance.
That's quite a tall order to try and be all of these characters as a part of this as this whole pantomime. Maybe Teresa, what inspires Sick and Twisted Theater to pursue pantomime as a genre for which to perform in? What is it about pantomime that appeals to Sick and Twisted Theater and to the artists that make up the Sick and Twisted Theater community? Because we talked about this back in October, but this is it's a theater community meant for folks who might not have the chance to perform in other venues across the city. They have some have disabilities and things like that. So what about pantomime is able to speak to your group of performers?
Yeah. Panto, like I had previously mentioned, it is such a rich history. And there are places across the States and Canada who are now into Panto and do theirs annually. Nobody was doing this in Winnipeg. Another thing we love about Panto is it is family friendly, but in that British naughty maybe goes over some heads that aren't as taller as other heads way. So there's a subversiveness that I think really appeals. And it's our goal and most pantomime's goal to take a classic structure, so take a classic fairy tale, and on that you're hanging political themes or local themes or what's going on. So setting Hansel and Gretel in Portage Place Mall ticks a lot of our boxes. And we just get to have a lot of fun. It's Rocky Horror Picture Show for kids, right? There's traditional callbacks, and we take the time to teach the audience.
Sure.
When we do this, you do that. So it's also an opportunity for all sorts of communities to come together in this super fun way.
Yeah, right. So the show opened last weekend for audiences. Emily, what were the reactions that you were hearing from the audience as they were coming out of the theater and as they were interacting as part of the show, like Teresa was just talking about?
So many people are just so excited to participate in a way that feels really safe and fun and low pressure and active. So the main thing I hear is that people are just having a really great time and enjoying the silliness and the interaction they get to have with the performers, and loving how local and specific it is to Winnipeg too.
What? Maybe you've answered this question a little bit, but maybe I'll throw this to you again, Teresa, to say what is maybe a unique element of going to see this kind of a Christmas themed show that audiences might not get anywhere else? Is it that subversive sort of nature? Is it that unique type of participation, or is there some other sort of secret ingredient in the secret sauce that is Sick and Twisted Theater's pantomime?
What a good question. I absolutely, it's going to be a combination of all of the local awesome we get to bring to it. For sure, it's going to be the fun and interactivity because our audiences don't really interact with us. Oh, no.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
That would be one of the examples. But it's also I think it's the spectacle and the fun, and there's singing and dancing, and there's literally comedy for everyone there.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay. There's also some elements of accessibility to this as well. I understand that there are some live audio descriptions, for instance, happening on Friday night as part of the show. Teresa, what does that look like?
Live audio description's so cool. It means that there's a describer who has seen the show and they have a special talking mouthpiece. And so live as part of the show, in between characters talking, they'll be describing visual elements that add to the show that some people might not be able to participate in. So if there's anybody who is visually impaired or blind, they still get as much out of the show. So, for instance, if I come out on stage, they don't know that I'm dressed in a sequin ball gown and that I have a preposterous huge white wig on. They might not know some of the sight gags that are happening. And we have performers who are blind. We have performers who are deaf. We have performers who are physically, mentally or emotionally disabled. So if we're going to make it accessible for us as performers, it has to be as accessible for the audience.
Absolutely. Tyler, to throw this back to you for a second, because it maybe is worth mentioning here that you have a visual impairment of your own. What, in your experience, does experiencing theater with that sort of live audio description feel like for you? And how do you feel participating on the other side of that coin for once?
Well, I've really embraced the audio description that is available in live theater here in Winnipeg. I go exclusively on nights that are described. But I love it, and I'm glad that our show has the audio description. We also had ASL interpreters at a show. It's invaluable, and it's a way that just sends a message that everybody is being considered. And as someone who has low vision, who's legally blind, that's just a message that really resonates with me, and I'm happy that I'm a part of a show that considers that and offers that service. What
do you think, Tyler? Not even audiences. What do you think that other artistic organizations in the city can learn from coming to see a Merry Crip-Mas pantomime, and what do you maybe hope that they take away from the accessibility and invitation to participate that this show provides to its audiences?
Well, I hope that they see deaf and disabled performers as performers that don't often. I don't think disabled performers get opportunities because they are just seen as not capable or not able to really sort of rise to the occasion. And I hope that if anybody sees this show, that they those prejudices are sort of done away with. I also think that there's just certain accessibility options that are being offered by Sick and Twisted, not just with this show, but all shows that if other theater productions took at least a modicum of some of these offerings and made them available at their own shows, how much broader an audience they could be reaching. It would just be, it would be really nice to see. It's happening all over the world, and I just think other theater productions are just sort of being kind of left behind if they're not picking up on these accessibility options, frankly.
Yeah. Emily, maybe I'll throw this next question to you, which is to say that as a performer with all of these different options around, how does that influence, or does it even influence, how you go about your performance as Hansel? In other words, with all of these other tools that help audiences process what you are doing, do you have to think in a different way about how you perform, or is there a unique sort of approach when you're doing this pantomime production?
Thank you. I think it enlivens it further. There's something about having multiple modes of communication and knowing that your ensemble is even greater than, the people that were cast specifically as actors. The audio describers are part of the show. The ASL interpreters are part of the show. These are performers. It expands the possibility of the story, and I feel like I learned so much from, watching the expressivity of the folks that are doing the ASL interpretation. It gives you another way into the language, the text that you're using.
Yeah.
I think it just makes everything that much more alive and gives it an additional spark that really makes it magical.
Yeah. And of course, you're already looking forward, I'm sure, to 2025. Teresa, what other things can audiences expect from Sick and Twisted Theater in the new year?
So I know that there's a big show coming up in spring, and there'll be more information out about that soon. And already I know that there's some brainstorming for next year's Panto, because this is the second annual. So it's that word annual that we gotta keep pumping up.
Gotta maintain the name.
Yeah.
The Hansel and Gretel in Portage Place, a Merry Crip-Mas Panto, taking place tonight at 7:00, Saturday at 7:00, and sorry, but Sunday is already sold out, so you've got to grab those tickets. More information about up-and-coming shows from Sick and Twisted Theater also able to be found at their website, sickandtwisted.ca. Emily King, Teresa Thompson, and Tyler Sneesby, thank you so much for joining us here in the Classic 107 studios.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cheers.